My thing is where does Alabama fall? Do they fall to 10? I mean,
I
11?
Who
They,
knows?
I bet they won't fall out the top 10.
No, they're not going to fall out of the top 10, I
But
don't
I don't
think.
think it's just for them to be ranked above a Tennessee or a Notre Dame right now.
Is Tennessee
Um,
better than Alabama?
I don't think so. I didn't
Okay,
think they were
so
last year, but there you go.
well, that's a fair point too.
well,
Because
new quarterback, new problems for Alabama.
same
They
But
didn't
thing.
look bad on the ground, and that
Speaking of
deep
new
ball.
quarterbacks here, we do have, it looks like Ohio State kind of found their quarterback this weekend. They gave both guys ample opportunities with the first team. Kyle McCord went 20 on 20 passes, 20 attempts. He threw for 259 yards with 3 touchdowns. Not the quarterback, numbers that you're used to expecting out of a Ryan Day offense, but he was still up there. Michigan rolled this past weekend to a 35-7 victory over UNLV. Penn State did their thing, scoring 63. It seems Drew Aller is that guy. Is he
Allen
that
had a good
guy?
weekend.
Like,
I
is
think
he
he's
that
that guy.
guy? Um, and then we suffered as a conference. We went down as the night went on. Um, Illinois didn't start us off real good though. Um, Colorado and Coach Prime put a thumping on Nebraska and Matt Rule. His tenure starts 0-2 at Nebraska. On the other side, Coach Prime has already doubled Colorado's win total from last season in 2 games, so he's looking pretty good out there. Um, Wisconsin came up short last night. I don't know if you guys were watching that game.
I was
it was
Wisconsin,
focused on. I was
wild
yeah,
game.
watching
wild
Texas,
game.
unfortunately.
That
That was pretty good.
was a wild game. But I mean, Wisconsin came up short. So Luke Fickle's 1-1 now. Um,
Which
it,
that surprised me a lot, I'll be
yeah,
honest.
that game, yeah, that did surprise me out of them. That it just didn't seem. I thought they were going to be way better, and play
Yeah.
Big Ten football.
It was on the road though,
Well,
Yep.
wasn't it?
I have a question, and I didn't look this up yet,
Yeah.
and one
Go
you
ahead.
guys may know. Did Braylon Allen get hurt? Because he only had 7 touches.
I
Braylon
don't know.
Allen.
I
That
didn't.
just doesn't make sense to me.
Let me take a.
There's no way something had to have been wrong because there's no way he gets 7 carries.
Yeah, and that other kid fumbled the ball, which didn't help.
mm,
Marusi, I think it is.
Malusi.
I'm
Malusi.
Malusi. I'm on a different
Chaz.
page.
Yeah.
I'm looking up something.
No, you're
How about
okay.
that backdoor cover by UNLV? Michigan didn't
Yeah.
even hit the over either.
No.
Taking a L against the spread this year.
Do want to give a shout out to Purdue. They got a
Yes,
big ACC win over Virginia Tech.
great
Um,
late game heroics by Hudson Card. Hudson Card looks like a good filler in Purdue. I was looking at some highlights from that. Each
Kate.
team scored 17 points early in a row. Purdue scored the first 17, Tech
Yeah.
the next 17. Card closed it out.
Um,
Uh,
Cade McNamara this past weekend finally got a starting win. Um, or sorry, his second start over a rival with a win. Michigan State rolled, which texted us something here, so we'll get to the Michigan State new drama here in a minute. Northwestern beat UTEP in a beatdown, which was kind of good to see them being able to score some points, but it is UTEP.
yeah.
Um,
First home win on the United States for Northwestern since October of 2021.
yep, that is true. Maryland beat Charlotte on primetime NBC. Minnesota rolled against Eastern Michigan, and Rutgers handled business against Temple. So not overall a bad weekend for the Big Ten. I mean,
No.
the games
Um,
there was one game we lost that we shouldn't have, and the other game we lost was the Colorado Nebraska, and Nebraska should have lost that game when you look at those teams.
Illinois lost two. We lost 3 games
Oh
this
yeah, sorry,
weekend.
Illinois lost 2 to Kansas.
I think three. Yeah,
Yep,
three.
and then Indiana beat Indiana State in a
Put a
semi.
beat down. Taven Jackson looked pretty solid.
I'll
236 passing yards,
I'll put it
rushing touchdown.
this way though. Um, Indiana State though, like to put this in perspective, is the size of Butler University. They have about
Butler
like
almost won a national title.
in basketball.
Facts are facts.
So, but yeah,
I tell you what.
I mean, overall, a good weekend for the Big Ten, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I never actually thought that I would come into Sunday morning after 2 weeks in, and Michigan State's leading the passing offense, the rushing leader. Um, I mean, they've got, let's see, Noah Kim's leading league in passing. Nathan Carter's leading the league in rushing. They got the second leading sack guy in Aaron Brule. I mean, Michigan State, I mean, yeah, they're not playing world beaters, but they're showing up early.
Absolutely. Core, what's a couple things do you think we've learned about our conference here in the first 2 weeks of the season? Like, if you could pick like a couple things that we've learned
Well,
about what Big Ten football is in 2023.
so the first thing, I think it's like a new age of football. Blowouts don't seem to happen as much as they should anymore. You're not going to beat teams 68-0 anymore. Um, watching obviously as a Michigan fan this past weekend, Michigan dominated the game. It wasn't close. UNLV didn't get into Michigan territory until halfway through the third quarter. Regardless, they should have probably scored more, had a fourth down inside the red zone, and didn't convert. But I mean, little things like that. Ohio State, while it was 7-7 early, I don't feel like Ohio State ever was in danger of losing that game. So the first thing I'll take is like just a new age. Um, the quarterback play so far has been really, really good in the Big Ten. That's kind of the one thing I know we expected JJ McCarthy. You expect Ohio State, whoever's starting to play well. We talked about Drew Aller. Cade McNamara is playing solid for Iowa. Iowa's 2-0. So, solid. Hudson Card for Purdue is showing things that, we knew he was a good quarterback, but, we didn't know how much talent he has around him. So, um, to me, the quarterbacks have been really, really the star. Um, but I don't expect it to stay that way. There's too many good running backs in this conference for running backs to not be the talk of the Big Ten. And I think as the season goes on and you get into your Big Ten conference, running backs will take over. And then I think really the other main thing I've seen is it doesn't seem there's stars all over the field on every team in the Big Ten, and it just seems like other guys are making plays. That's you expect when you watch Ohio State, you expect Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Ibuka to make plays. You expect Travion Henderson to make plays, but then you watch them and you have
Kate
other guys
Stover making
you
Kate
have other
Stover over
guys
the middle. Yeah,
other guys
Julian Fleming stepping up.
sprinkling
Yeah,
in. When you watch Michigan, you expect
Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards.
Edwards, Blake Corum to dominate, and they're dominating in the passing. By the way, shout out to Michigan's offensive coordinator for a perfectly called game, half passing, half rushing, perfect, exact, perfect. But I mean, I think it's just we look solid as a conference, but I don't expect it to hold up. There's 3 good teams in this conference that we know of. And
Absolutely.
I expect those 3 teams to excel. Wisconsin this past weekend did kind of shock me a little bit, but new coach, new regime on the road, things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. I also think that you're in a new system and you're still implementing your system. You're getting all these new guys involved, but you've still played better teams than this. You've been in more intense environments than this. I just think that it was a total flub down by Wisconsin.
I think he
It
got
really
out
disappointed
coached.
me. Yeah, which no disrespect to Washington State. I mean,
No,
they're one of what, two teams that doesn't have a conference next year so far.
no, they're in the
Uh,
Tupac.
right. So no conference. Um, I just,
They'll win the
I don't know.
conference next year.
It's fair. It just seems like right now, your early season, you're getting your chump teams, you're getting your walkover teams in there, you're getting your pay to play teams in there. Um, you're not going to try and get anybody hurt that you don't have to get hurt. So I think that's Michigan, Ohio State. They're not exactly putting their foot on the throttle. But then Penn State goes out and hangs 63. Um, I don't know. I think Callie
I
McManus looked pretty good. He doesn't really stood out too far. He's doing what he has to do to win the game. To me, my standout so far is Noah Kim at Michigan State. 571 passing yards in 2 games, 5 tutties, no interceptions. They're 2-0. Again, it's been against not a whole lot, but I mean, Michigan State was in shambles last year, and they look pretty good right now.
absolutely.
Nebraska, Nebraska is very disappointing. I think Jeff Sims overall has been disappointing. I think that it would be time to look down the roster if I am Matt Rule going into Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois and Louisiana Tech are both not slouch schools. If you don't want to start the season 0-5 going at Illinois on 10-6 to start September, I really think you need to start looking down the roster to see who can become a leader on that Nebraska team.
You know, like Jeff Sims, like when I was watching him play, what he reminds me of, and Corey, you said this to me back in 2013. You go, Braxton Miller was a phenomenal athlete, right? But he just couldn't make the necessary throws to win you those big games, right? Like the necessary throws that you have to make as a quarterback, or those like, when you have to hit your receiver in stride, right over the corner shoulder. Those tight window throws, like sometimes like those guys just can't make them. And what I'm seeing from Jeff Sims is he's one hell of he can do what he wants with his legs, just like Braxton did. When he extends plays, that's when is at his best, right?
I think that's the
Um,
perfect comparison.
yeah,
I
and I
mean,
think,
for
but I
Big Ten
think he
football.
is, yeah, but I think Jeff Sims is a worser passer than Braxton was.
Okay.
I
Worst
just
passer.
think,
Not
I
as
just
good.
think,
Yeah, like a worse passer than,
Grammar.
sorry, but
I
like
just
that's
think,
what I think. Like I think Jeff Sims is just that, like he's just worse than Braxton is as a passer. And I think
yeah,
that's
I
where
mean,
Matt Rule's offense is not clicking.
I think the issue, I think it's not, I don't think you can put it all on his shoulders. I think Matt Rule is trying to implement his offense instead of moving his offense around Sims. A lot of that has to do with it. Now, Sims is making dumb decisions, throwing into windows that he doesn't have. But I mean, I don't, it's to be fair, he was at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech runs the triple option. He's a perfect quarterback to run the triple option.
Well,
But
yeah,
I
but
mean, Nebraska
it's
could run the triple option.
a
They
100%. And the first couple drives against Colorado yesterday, they ran a couple triple option plays, tricked Colorado, got to the edge, and got big chunk plays. They're struggling on all fronts. Nebraska's defense is kind of surprisingly not awful. They played really well yesterday. They played really well yesterday for 3 quarters. Um, but I think some of it is Matt Rule, and I think Matt Rule has to adjust the offense a little bit to his quarterback. I think
I
that's
agree.
kind of, I mean, I think that that's something that would potentially help because, like you said, Sims's legs are very dangerous.
I think
His arm is not unbelievable. But when you think back to Braxton Miller, right?
the read
Yes,
option.
Braxton Miller, but not only that, but when you needed a play on third down, it was a 5 yard easy throw, little
Mhm.
screen pass, or it was a box route where you have two guys going across the middle and the defenders rub each other and whichever guy's open, as long as he hits it somewhere on his body, it's a first down. Right now,
Right.
Nebraska is trying to take
Slant routes
shots
too, yeah.
from is
Yeah.
taking shots from the 50-yard line, and not saying that they don't have the playmakers, but they don't have the playmakers.
No,
They
they don't
have
have the
guys
wide
that
receiving staff.
they right,
Yeah.
and I mean it's their rebuilt offensive line. They're they talked about it on
He's
the pregame
rebuilding the
how
program.
I know, and I understand that.
Yeah.
However, every coach, you have to make adjustments to
Right.
your offense. When you think about it, it wasn't, you could go when Jim Harbaugh's first year, he took in transfer, don't even remember his name. He was from Iowa, whatever. And what did they do? They adjusted the offense to what was good for him, for Michigan to be successful.
You're talking
You're going to
Harbaugh's
have a
first
learning
year?
curve. You're going to have a learning curve,
That was like
and you're going to
O'Corn.
have no. It was I can't think of his
O'Corn
name. He
left
transferred.
Michigan.
He transferred
Spate.
from Iowa. No,
No.
I'm gonna look it up because I know that name is bothering me.
but it's one of those things where it's like you're not Nebraska. We knew was not going to come in and just win every game. You don't
Right.
expect that from Nebraska, but
Jake Rudock.
Rudock, yeah.
but you expect Nebraska to be able to do something, and they look pathetic. They look like they might not win a game all year.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that though Matt Rule is saying, oh, those are the hardships. That's what's going to happen. That's just the way I'm going to rebuild. And I understand that, but every coach makes an adjustment. You've already seen Ryan Day this year make an adjustment to help the younger quarterbacks because because they're struggling. So what has he done? He's leaned on the run game more than in the pass game. And those things are going to happen.
Which
And
leads
those
me,
things are what's going to happen.
yeah, and which leads me to what I was gonna say is what I've learned this year is you're not seeing a typical Ohio State high-powered passing game offense with a new QB. They're going back to more of a typical, Big Ten style offense where you pound the ball. I've learned that Caden McNamara is doing what we thought he was going to do and improve that Iowa offense.
I mean, he's managing it well.
Yeah.
I don't know that you could say improve. They still don't score a lot. Their defense scored for them yesterday. Just so you know.
Yeah.
You're still in the Ferentz offense.
You're
but
not
he's
wrong.
managing it.
He's managing it better.
He completed 12 passes and one to the other team. So,
well, that happened.
And here's the thing.
So
it's going to be better for them. Right now, it doesn't matter. But when they get into Big Ten play,
that's where he's going to pay the dividends.
But he's going to have to he's going to have to score points.
Yeah.
Because Iowa's defense is not going to stop everybody.
No.
And at some point, they're going to play a team that's going to score 28, 30 points. And he's going to have to lead that offense to score.
Absolutely.
Do you think that he's going to be able that with the play calling that they have? I mean, in 2 weeks, they're at Penn State at 7:30.
I don't think that's going to be an advantageous thing because Penn State's defense is really good. But at the same time, he's seen Penn State's defense. So you're not really – so you know what? It's a –
to be honest,
it's a catch-22 almost.
But in that game, everybody's going to pick Penn State.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's going to pick Penn State. So he's not expected to win. To me, in that game, Drew Aller has all the pressure.
Sure.
Because if Penn State doesn't win, all of a sudden, all one's talking about Drew Aller. Well, he can't win the big game for us. How can he be our starting quarterback? You have all of those things going through.
True.
I think Cade is cool, calm, and collected. I think Iowa will be just fine.
I think what I've also seen is I think Penn State may be overcompensating on the scoreboard and getting Drew Aller all of these like game time reps, like how we used to see like with C.J. Stroud, J.J. McCarthy, and stuff, playing like the deep into the fourth quarter against these shit teams, because I think that James Franklin's trying to make a statement that we are who we are. You know what I mean? And we have the guy. We're one of the best teams in the country. And I think Corey's right in an aspect. Like Drew Aller has all the pressure on him going into that Iowa game. Because if he doesn't play well and they lose, it kind of just almost proves the thing is it James Franklin or is it the people, is his quarterback not performing?
Well, I guess that's just going to be an eye test game then. I
Yeah,
mean, at that point, you have to look and say, was he making really bonehead reads and tosses into double single coverage, blanketed coverage? Was he leaving 10 yards of space? Because he showed yesterday he can run a little bit. Um, I mean, it depends on what
and
kind of
then
reads and what kind of head case he becomes on his own time. If he
absolutely.
shows that he can fight through a bad interception, I'm talking blatantly
Yeah,
bad, didn't see the linebacker standing there, tried to hit the cross,
and just
bad
picks.
interception.
Yeah. How does
If he
he?
can bounce back from that, if he can bounce back from adversity well,
Yeah,
he'll be fine. I don't
yeah.
think that he's still on one of the top three teams with the top five coach. Um, I don't think there's a whole lot to worry about yet. But again, it depends on how bad the play calling is. Um, if you go into, if you pull a 2015 Ohio State against Michigan State, run the ball three times in the rain. It's an exaggerated statement, but you get what I'm saying.
Oh, trust me, I remember that game very well.
But I'm saying if Franklin goes and calls a game like that, and then okay, then is it really Drew Aller's fault? Then it's just an eye
No,
test to
no,
me.
I agree. I agree. No, but
But
that's what.
I was gonna say, but what's gonna happen when everyone crowds the box and stops the run, and he has to win the game?
We'll see. I agree,
And I think that's like, and I think
but that's going to happen to McCord too. McCord hasn't had to win a game yet. McNamara hasn't had to win a game yet. None of these Michigan or the only quarterbacks in the conference that have had to win a game: Hudson Card, Jeff Sims, Tanner Mordecai, uh,
JJ
Altmaier.
McCarthy,
Michigan.
JJ McCarthy.
Well,
I'm talking this year. I'm not talking about last
Oh,
year.
this year,
Luke
no.
Altmaier. I mean, those teams that had to win games late down the stretch. Okay, those decisions have already been made.
yeah.
I see. I'm not. To me, I'm not really worried about if you're going talking about like Michigan or Ohio State. I'm not really worried about it because they have good play callers.
Yep.
That's fair.
I think in a big situation, I think when you see Michigan or when you see Ohio State play Penn State, you're going to see a lot of shorter routes, screen passes to try to get McCord comfortable, and then they'll go over the top, opposed to just physically, okay, I'm going to sit back here and just pick you apart. You just got to get your quarterback in rhythm, and once they get McCord in rhythm, I think they'll
And
take those
same thing,
shots.
and I think same thing with Michigan when Michigan plays Penn State. I think you're gonna see them try, run the ball and get JJ into a rhythm early, get him, settled into the game, and then start
Easy
taking
throws.
shots. Yeah, and then start
I
taking
mean,
shots.
Michigan ran for 400 yards against Penn State last year.
Yeah, I
Right.
don't see any of these, and I could be
So
mistaken. I don't see any of these teams actually being a. I think right now I don't see a deep threat team in any of these teams. There's players with deep threat ability by far, but none of these quarterbacks have had to just absolutely unload just because they've been nickel and diming and they've freed up the
Well,
defense.
you're not wrong, but
I think
two
you're going to see a lot
also.
more of that.
Well, oh, you're gonna see a lot more of unloading like the quarterbacks unloading the ball downfield definitely later in the season. But I also think like Michigan, they don't need to do that against UNLV. They don't need to do that against Eastern Carolina. You know what I mean? Like you don't really need to go over the top against
Yeah,
like Youngstown
just
State, Indiana,
prevent
and stuff.
injury, manage the
Yeah,
game.
yeah, exactly. It's like week 1 and 2, you just want to survive these first 3 weeks, and then I think when is Michigan's? Let me look up Michigan's schedule real quick.
I'm already there.
Not for a while.
Yeah.
Not for a while.
Meaningful game. First
Not for
meaningful
a
game.
while.
Yeah,
11-11.
11-11. Yeah, but
Not for a while.
I was gonna say I think for like Michigan, Rutgers is for Rutgers, they're looking really good. Greg Schiano has that team playing, I think, at a high level for the competition that they've played, and they've looked better against that competition than they have years past this season. So I
My
think
thing is, Michigan
well,
almost got their quarterback killed yesterday on that UNLV
yeah.
shove into the brick wall.
Well, but what I was gonna say
That's our
though is
backup.
I think
I saw.
week 5.
First of all, he
That
shouldn't
week.
have done that.
Well,
There was no need for that push.
You don't need to stiff arm a dude in the face mask when you're running out of bounds either.
I agree with that. I agree with that too. But knowing the situation, he shouldn't have pushed the quarterback like that.
Oh, I agree,
Right.
but I think it was just full in the moment retaliation for.
Well, you heard what Mike Hart said, right? Mike Hart was like,
No.
"Well, that's just part of football."
Well,
It
yeah,
is.
both ends are just part of the game. You know,
But
I
don't
think
know, and I don't even know if he's the backup. I don't.
But I think Michigan, you're gonna see them have to go maybe over the top a little more against Rutgers than we've have to seen, and I think you're gonna find out who Kyle McCord is because he's
Right.
seems to be the sure front starter through 2 weeks. You're gonna see what he's made against Notre Dame, and then for Drew Aller, you're gonna find out really what he's made of.
Yeah, which I'm looking forward to that, but I'm overly high on that team this year. So
October 21st.
I think he's going to have a problem.
my-
I think Iowa's going to give him fits. Iowa's defense is nasty.
Yeah.
I
You're
hope
not
so.
wrong.
I mean, I want to see some good foosball.
And I think that could be the potential game too, to watch out for Drew Aller because that's primetime CBS.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Do we like the new networks?
I'm not a big fan. I hate the CBS announcers. They are not exciting to watch a game at all.
I like them, but I'm so it's so weird to me because I'm so used to hearing them announce the SEC games, and they're so biased. They talked about Georgia almost the entire time against Michigan, the Michigan game. Just like, but like
I was watching the Ohio State game against.
I hate NBC.
Yeah, I was just like,
it's
we
awful.
were watching the Ohio State Indiana game, and it was like I was like almost falling asleep during it because the announcers were so boring. Like, and then you flip on Fox and here's Gus Johnson. He bounces to the outside. Oh my God, a 20-yard run! And it's like that was like the simplest basic running play, and Gus Johnson's freaking out over it, and it's amazing.
Well, I think a lot of it, and they talked about it yesterday on the broadcast. I think a lot of it has to do with they're just so used to
calling
watching. But so used to exceptional football. They're so used to Alabama dominating, Georgia dominating, Florida dominating. They're so used to those kinds of games that they don't need to get up for that. And I mean, it's to be fair, Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt always get a good game. They always get a good game, and that's good for Fox, and that's the way Fox does it. But
you could watch
CBS's crew. CBS's crew has always been like that. I'd rather have CBS than NBC or Peacock.
Yeah.
The only positive about NBC is you get Mike Tirico. That's the only positive about NBC.
That's a positive?
I like Mike Tirico.
All I'm saying is I have YouTube TV, and they give me multi-view, so I just get to pick which screen I want to listen to while I'm watching 4 games. So I really wasn't paying that much attention to it. I have
YouTube TV as well, but I
was using what feeds was I listening to yesterday? Let me go back to the other scores because I know I had the Notre Dame game on. I had Nebraska, Colorado, the end of that. Uh, I was listening to. I had the Miami A&M game on.
Yeah,
Lane
Hey
Ole
Nick,
Miss game.
Shadur Sanders, bro.
I know. It's looking
He
good.
is man. He is man.
I'm telling you, I think he's going to win the Heisman over Caleb Williams. And I will be the first one to say it. I personally,
That game's in 2 weeks or
yep,
3 weeks.
I I guarantee you, and I will be willing to put a lot of money on this. We will never see another two-time Heisman winner, and we will never see another freshman win the Heisman.
Although last night I turned on the USC game and Caleb Williams has 19 had his account. They've helped them account for 26 touchdowns in two games, or 3 games. Sorry, 3 games because they're in their third week.
Yeah,
I'm just he's unreal.
but I think what's going to
He's literally
Caleb
magic.
Williams is, but what I really think what it's going to come down to is what the voters are going to see is they're going to be like when Colorado's 11-1 and wins the Pac-12.
I don't know about that.
Just wait for it. I'm telling
I
you,
don't know.
they
I don't-
look
I don't know
they
about
look
that.
so dangerous.
Here's the problem. Okay, and
But when they
this is the
but when they win their
this is the
conference,
problem.
hold on, listen though. But when they are like 10-2 or like have like a sane record, even RG3 won it at
They'll be
9-3.
like 8 and
Even
4, 9 and
RG3,
3.
yeah, if they're that way and he's the reason and he has like really good stats, they will pick him over Caleb Williams.
I'm not saying they will or they won't. I don't know that they'll be champs. They have to play Utah. They have to play they're not they haven't faced a defense that can shut down their spread.
Yeah, and
And
Oregon didn't look like
their
they could shut
defense
down a spread
and their
last night. So
look, I respect it. They're playing their ass off, and their offense is insane. Their defense is decent. I don't think they've really, to me, I don't think they faced an offense that can score. I'm very interested to see if they can shut down USC now because I don't think anybody can shut down USC. So
I don't know.
I think
that,
I
and
think
judging off last night, I don't think that Oregon's going to give them as big a problem as everyone thinks, unless they shore that up overnight.
but I mean, all it takes to shut down USC is to play defense. Like is to have a solid defense. Not even a great
correct.
defense, just a solid defense.
It's keeping Caleb Williams in the pocket. As soon as Caleb Williams escapes the pocket, it's like Patrick Mahomes. He will sit back there for 10 seconds if you let him, and he'll just wait and wait and wait and wait and wait, and then he'll find somebody.
You're not wrong, but I think once you get into like Utah every year that they played USC, they've had a way of getting down to it, like getting pressure.
They didn't though. They beat them by scoring more.
I mean, that's how you
they
beat
played
every
deep.
team.
They beat deep. They played deep. I think they played really good defense in one game in the Pac-12 championship. They played really good defense.
But that's all you need.
But I mean, I don't see that happening yet. I don't think anyone. To be honest, I don't think anyone's beating USC in the Pac-12. I think USC is a top 4 team and will be in the college football playoff. I've always thought that. And to be honest, and the only main reason is because of Caleb Williams. Because if you take Caleb Williams
Whittingham
out of that
seems
offense,
to have the number out there.
I agree. Now, and Caleb Williams also didn't do himself any favors by writing F Utah on his nails and shit like that and putting extra shit out there.
In class.
He did that, but
I'm sure he did, but I missed it.
But like look, Colorado can score with anybody in the country. They can absolutely score with anybody in the country. Now, if I'm looking at them and critiquing them, when I look at Colorado, their offensive and defensive lines look a little smaller to me.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they are or I want to see Colorado in a real physical battle with a team that's just, and I don't know.
I think if USC got into a real physical battle, their defense would fail them. it just goes
I don't
back
know if
to
I believe it.
well, hold on
We
a
haven't
second.
seen we haven't
Hold
seen we
on.
haven't seen we haven't
I
seen
can
them play
name.
anybody.
You're not wrong, but like from what we've seen out of USC so far, they don't play defense. Like Cliff, they just don't. That's not what he like. That's not what they're built. They don't play defense like Michigan plays defense, like Georgia plays defense. And when you put them up, and I'm saying like if you have a solid defense, if you can get 3 stops in that game and make them punt to you 3 times, I don't think USC's defense is to stop you 3 straight times to get the ball back. They're going to give up 2 touchdowns in that out of those 3 possessions. And that's the swing of the game. And that's all you have to do
Well,
against a
but
team
that's
like
what we've
USC.
seen so far. We haven't seen their defense in a really big spot this year. So I mean, and that just is what it is. But I think I I don't I hope. Look, I'm a believer in Coach Prime. Look, I'm almost at the point where it's like if Harbaugh leaves to go to the NFL, bring this guy to Michigan. I would even be okay with that. I just don't. I don't know. I don't think we know enough about Colorado yet. I don't.
The
And
one
again,
thing
I'm not.
Colorado needs to hope for is that Travis Hunter doesn't get injured.
Well, and that's well, and the thing is to me, it's not him. It's the other side because they're throwing at Travis Hunter potentially maybe 4 or 5 times a game, maybe 4 or 5 times a game. Now, on the other side, is that guy when he's going up against a guy who is not a Nebraska wide receiver? He's going up against a guy who will be in the NFL next year. Is that guy just as good? I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying in general, I think Colorado. Look, I believed in Colorado when nobody else did. I took over 3.5 wins. I called it before the season started. I thought that they were good. Now, to me, the biggest thing for me for Coach Prime is what happens when, like next year, can you produce the same amount of stuff that you're getting this year? And I think I believe in Colorado. I just don't know that they're going to win the conference. I think that's a very bold statement.
Let's
They look good
transition
though.
here. Let's transition here. Let's talk because I want to get to it before we end the show here. Corey, you sent us in our group chat here a, a tweet from Kenny Jacoby. New. Michigan State University is investigating allegations that head football coach Mel Tucker sexually harassed activist and rape survivor Brenda Tracy. He is accused of making sexual comments and masturbating on a phone call without her consent.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer, I mean, yeah, but
Coming. It's disgusting. I mean, it's to be honest, the Big Ten has had a shadow over the entire year. There's always been something going on, whether it be Jim Harbaugh, whether it be somebody else. There's a problem.
it started with
This is allegation number 4, right?
I think
I
so.
think so.
Fitzgerald,
So what?
PJ Fleck, Jim Harbaugh's other nonsense.
Well, so you
and
had
then now
the
Mel Tucker.
you had the Michigan OC who got fired, Weiss or whatever his name was, for the hacking of like student email accounts or something, and then Harbaugh's thing. You have the allegation, or then you had the whole Northwestern saga with Pat Fitz, and you had Minnesota with PJ Fleck, and now you have Mel Tucker.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think if this is legit, Mel Tucker is out.
He's gone.
Mel Tucker is gone and will never coach again.
No.
I think now obviously we talk about all the instances with the Big Ten. This may be one of the worst. Obviously Northwestern's is pretty bad as well.
Wait, didn't James Franklin have like a hazing allegation in Penn State that came out? Or was that like a few years ago?
I don't think that was recent.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at.
But
go ahead.
it's disgusting. It's just
Oh yeah, that was way back when. Sorry.
now. I mean,
It's disgusting.
again, it could.
It's just
It's. I mean,
disgusting.
I don't know
It's
what else.
absolutely terrible.
I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, like, I mean,
Well,
as a
in
coach,
the
as a coach, you're supposed to be a leader of young
yes,
men or
yes,
turning kids into men and things
you
like that.
are.
And you're setting this as an example. You don't deserve to
Gosh,
coach.
you're not wrong. However, though, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Okay,
That's
just
my job.
I was gonna play devil's advocate here. And this is what I would personally would like to see because it's allegate like because he's accused, right? It's an allegation at this point. What I would really like to see from Michigan State, because with their past history with Nazar and all that with the gymnastics, I would like to see them suspend him indefinitely from from all football related activities. You could still suspend him with pay and say we are going to do we're going to do a full-fledged investigation and his employment or his head football coach, whatever you want to however you want to word it, is going to be decided after the investigation is complete and the court
Yeah.
systems do what they need to do.
I
Because
don't think that with something this extreme you can suspend with pay. I will,
I mean I'm
and I
just saying
agree that what you're doing, right?
you could
But
just with or without pay,
yeah,
but you suspend him and you say, hey, we're not going to make a decision if we're going to keep him or fire him until all of this is we get all of the facts, right?
listen, all I'm saying is I told you he wouldn't last to the end of the season. I never said how,
That is
and I
true.
wasn't wrong.
I mean, I don't. Here's the thing. I don't disagree. I feel like they're going to not do anything until they can get to the bottom of it and confirm it. But
But see, like
it's
I
just
think you could get
I think you
ahead.
have to act. Yeah, you have to go ahead of the game. I agree.
Yeah, you have to get ahead of it, and I think that would be the most appropriate thing is suspend them. And if you want to pay, like if you want to do suspend with pay, suspend without pay, whatever, but you suspend them and you say we're not doing anything regarding his employment status until the full investigation has been concluded,
And
and
I
all the
don't
facts are
think,
gathered.
and I don't even think if you do this, you announce with or without pay. I just think
Yeah,
suspended
yep,
indefinitely
definitely.
pending
The
investigation.
investigation. Yep, exactly.
Leave it at that. And
Exactly.
I mean, again, just like we talked about the Pat Fitzgerald stuff, the PJ Fleck stuff, go top to bottom. And if it is guilty,
Get rid of
you're
them.
basically black card. Yeah, he's on the
Yeah,
blacklist. You're
yeah.
never getting a job at a top tier level ever again.
No.
If you even catch another job.
Oh yeah, then the Bleacher Report just put out an article, so if you want to read it, go ahead and read it, guys. But that's just my thing. Yeah, you just gotta get out ahead of it. If you're the university and let the justice system do their thing. You know, let it all play out and make your decision because, like, at the end of the day, like, too, like, if he's innocent and all of it, and you still believe like, he's the right guy for your football program, and all that stuff, like if he's innocent and you fired him, on false allegations, that's not a good thing either. But that's just my opinion. You know, playing
Right.
both sides of it, like just seeing both
You
sides.
got to play both sides of it. I
Yeah,
mean, regardless,
just trying to stay
this seems,
unbiased.
and I know, agreed, this seems a lot more instantly detailed and instantly
Yes.
specific and instantly like I don't know how to explain it.
It doesn't seem like they're
Yeah,
allegations.
they're just
It's
not pulling this out of the clouds
thought,
somewhere.
yeah.
Like this seems like somebody knows what happened. Somebody blew the whistle,
Or
and
somebody, or like
we're
they've been
already
sitting on the story for a little bit
yeah.
and like finally got the okay to run it.
We're basically DOA at this point.
Yeah,
Like that's just how it feels. I mean,
yeah,
again, no proof. one way or the other. I haven't read anything on it. I just woke up to this morning from Corey and then another group chat I'm in. So I don't even know.
Yeah, and I mean it's like from USA Today broke it, so it's not like like a
TMZ.
TMZ or what I mean, just like
Yeah.
a reliable
Right.
source that would not just put something out.
Verifiable.
Yeah,
Right.
verifiable stuff that hasn't. I would believe that has integrity to their writers and hold them to certain standards. So.
Right.
I mean, but I agree with you, and it does seem like this is not something that just came out of like thin, like a thin air type thing. It
Yeah.
seems like something that was like heavily like we know what
Yeah, this
this isn't an allegation. This is what happened, people.
yeah, this has been marinating in the fridge for a
Yeah.
few weeks. This isn't just something that we pulled off the Taco Bell dollar menu last night.
Yeah, exactly. Corey, I mean, your
Oh,
thoughts? Is that what it seems like to you too?
Yeah, I mean, I always think the rumors when they come out are always typically pretty true when you come out with something like this.
Yeah,
It's not, maybe it's not as bad as we all think, but something happened, obviously, if it's coming out. So, I
you're
mean,
not wrong.
it's a
right.
terrible thing.
I absolutely. Um, Obviously respect everybody's privacy during this time, you know? Like just don't go out and do random stuff, people. You know, don't be dumb. Make smart decisions.
We'll let the people in charge handle it.
Exactly.
So actually, I haven't read anything a lot. I just pulled up I wanted to see if it was on ESPN yet, which it's the top headline that's not front page. Uh, says sources didn't confirm the complainant's identity or details about the allegations Saturday night, but sources said the investigation started months ago and remains open. So this isn't anything that just
Start.
started. So this has been
Yeah.
something they've been playing around with for a while.
Yeah, like
Uh,
yeah, it seems like that's what I was saying. It seems like they were sitting on the story until they could get sources confirming certain things. Yeah.
which, judging by another paragraph, looks like we're
It's from
looking
2022, the
Yeah.
complaint.
21 and 22.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
On Twitter, people are calling for him to be fired.
Oh,
uh,
absolutely. I
I
wouldn't
don't.
doubt that the internet calling
A
for it.
hearing to determine whether he violated the school's sexual harassment policy is scheduled for October 5th and 6th. So
I think
he's at
that's too late.
least.
That's too late. Y-
No, yeah, it needs to be now.
No, well, I mean, I think if you want to have a hearing that first week of October, that's fine, but he needs to be suspended for football operations for the next 3 weeks.
I don't think he's going to be suspended. I think he's going to be fired.
Yeah, but don't they owe him a metric ton of money, or is this something that nulls that?
That
Because I'm not good with that stuff.
I feel like their
this might
lawyers are
this might
gonna be like, no,
I feel
this
like this
nullifies
could.
your
I mean,
contract.
I
Yeah,
think this is they're firing for cause,
yeah.
not actually like firing him because they want to.
I mean, they want to. Let's clarify that.
Well, yeah, they
No,
want.
I mean like not.
It's
because
not. It's not
they're-
because he went
they're
3-9
I get
again.
what you're
not
saying.
Yeah.
Michigan State's. Michigan State is choosing to fire him for things that he did, not just because
not
he didn't win
performance
football
based.
games.
Yeah, not performance based. It's his actions that caused his firing, not his performance that caused it, which is weird because both are his own actions, but you know what I mean.
I'm with you. I'm just.
Yeah. No, but I agree. I think, dude, I think this is something that nullifies the remaining of his contract, and they won't pay him out. They won't have to pay him out.
I mean, I would assume not, but what do you do? I mean, if you're staring that on there, hopefully you were smart enough when you wrote that to say, "Hey, if you do dumb shit, you get no money." But I
And
know
if you,
weirder shit has happened in the world.
yeah, and if you weren't, you're like, well, like, cause like they're at university, they can, they have like law professors and stuff like that that can actively practice law. Like they can just have, you know what I mean? Like if you needed lawyers or whatever, fight it in court, you could. And I feel like If they don't, they'll be like, we'll give you X amount of your remaining contract as your severance.
Which
Goodbye. See you later.
this started roughly right before he signed the contract.
Yeah.
And then early on into the contract. So it's not, if this has been being investigated that long and they still paid him that much money,
That it looks really bad on Michigan State.
yeah. Because he signed that in November of 21. If the first allegation stint, or if the two interactions between them were August of 21 and April of 22, and he signed that on November of 21, like,
That's a little.
yeah. Let's see here. I'm on a different website looking at his contract right now.
I feel like Michigan State is going to fire him because of past things with this. It just feels like that way.
Yeah.
Twitter's probably calling for it. You have probably people on there
Oh,
defending it.
Twitter's calling for his head, I'm sure. I
Yeah.
don't get on X. Well, X, I
Oh,
guess. I don't
sorry,
get on
X
X a lot.
Yeah, X is probably.
I get on X if I'm looking for an immediate replay or something wild's going on in the world. I don't get on X for any other sort of enjoyment. That's one of my least used social medias.
Absolutely. I
I
can't
prefer
even
the
have X.
I prefer the
I'm not allowed.
Instagram, Facebook, and such. I don't even have TikTok. I refuse to download TikTok.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that's all I really had for us today. Just to the week 1 and 2, what we've learned. Shout out to Drew, who's moving into his new house.
Yes, sir.
So he'll be coming live from his new place soon.
Next week, me
Ethan,
and Drew will be heading to East Lansing for the
ironically,
Washington-Michigan State game. Yes, so I'll see the new Dicks next week en route to East Lansing for a 5 o'clock matchup of Michigan State and Washington. Words are hard.
what time are you guys thinking you're probably gonna get up there?
I don't know. I know we're leaving town. Let me pull up the itinerary by Mr. Richard Head himself.
Oh, Dick.
Let's see. Oh, we're going to Ohio State at Purdue also. He just sent this. Where the hell is it? Maybe he sent to me in one-on-one. Because me, Drew, and Dave have a chat, and me and Dave have a chat. Party trip 9:15, 9:16. Leaving after I get off work. Go to BG, pick up Drew. We're staying at a hotel in Howell, Michigan.
Okay.
So we're going to get dinner in Ann Arbor, and then we're heading up into Michigan a little further. Dinner in BG Saturday night, and then back to the field.
Okay, so it doesn't say when you guys are gonna head to the stadium, but
what time's the game?
Let me see.
5
o'clock. Let me see where we're staying at in relation to the stadium. Hang on.
But we'll just get to you guys on your trip there. Catch you on your little road trip to East Lansing. Get your thoughts next Saturday. Heading into that game. Guys, that's all I had for us.
We're staying about 40 minutes from
okay, so you probably won't get there.
The university.
And Dave likes to go down and walk around, and
we're staying smack in the middle between Ann Arbor and Michigan State. So yeah, we'll probably be on campus screwing around by 3 at minimum.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's all I had for us, guys. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thanks for coming on. First week of NFL. Don't forget to set your fantasy lineups here by 1 o'clock. Everyone. And we'll see you guys next week.